felt very undercover Secret Service for such a long time that even talking to you about it now feels very strange. It feels like I've known him my whole life. He's really become such a huge part of my life. It couldn't be a more different world. In 2004, social media didn't exist. If you wanted to find people bitching and saying awful things about you, you just heard people kind of talking in the line at the grocery store like you couldn't hear them. Oh, is that her? She's a lot bigger in real life. Like, just, it was such a different time. A man would be, let's say, threatened by who I am and what I do and the shine that's on me. And he's never been like that. Oh, this is so corny, but it's so true. He's like the wind beneath my wings. Oh, that felt so gross coming out of my mouth.
Ricki-Lee Coulter, welcome to the Stellar Podcast.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
You and I have a lot to get through, so let's just get straight into it. It has just been announced that you are moving to Nova's Sydney breakfast radio show with your current Drive co-host, Tim Blackwell. Kat is just out of the bag that Ricki-Lee and Tim will be starting next week, February 9. I imagine you've been sitting on this secret for a while. Is it good that you can finally, the cloak and dagger has come to an end? You can speak about it.
Yes, I can hang the cloak up and pop the dagger down. No, it's been a long time in the making, and it's been shrouded in secrecy. And we've been, I was just saying to you before, it's felt like we've been like chatting in back alleys and in balconies and in car parks. Like, it's felt very undercover Secret Service for such a long time that even talking to you about it now feels very strange and very foreign, because even just hearing the show name Ricki-Lee and Tim is so exciting. Like, it really is, but it's been something that we've had to hold so closely, and so, and very few people have known about this for such a long time. So it's exciting that we're finally able to talk about it, but we're about to start too, which is incredible. And we've been, really working hard on putting the show together and making something that we're really excited about bringing to breakfast in Sydney. It's been such a long time since there's been a change at Nova and Sydney Breakfast, and we're so excited that we get to be the people that kind of take that on. And, there's so much ahead of us, but we're so thrilled that we get the opportunity to do that, because I think, as we get older, particularly when we get older, you don't get many opportunities to do something that scares the shit out of you. And you don't get many opportunities to do something where you get to build something from scratch and hopefully turn it into something big and successful. You really don't. That's, stuff for your 20s and 30s when you're starting to build your career. So it's a great challenge ahead of us, and it's a behemoth. Sydney Breakfast is a huge honour, and we take it very seriously.
Once the news gets out, you're going to be getting asked by a lot of people in your life and people in the media, what time do you have to get up? You have, of course, worked on breakfast radio many years ago. You were on Nova.
Yeah, but I was like a child then. I was like 23, 24. It's not as easy to wake up early when you're 40.
Tell me about it. I'm a little more than that, and it doesn't get easier. So, of course, you will get asked about that, the logistics. The other thing that's changed, of course, is that now you have video.
Yes.
And it's such a hugely video and visual-led medium. Mm-hmm. As with here, you and I sitting here, what would have been a podcast only a couple of years ago, now we're surrounded by cameras. Of course, you and Tim will be the same. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
As a woman in particular, I don't need to tell you there's a big double standard.
You
have worked on and continue to work on television as well.
Yeah.
What does that add to the getting out of bed early in the morning logistics, being quote unquote camera ready?
Yeah, well, it definitely adds something that Tim doesn't have to do. And I heard you talking to Husey about this, and it's a thing that us women that work in media have to. It's an extra, for TV, for me, 3 hours in my day that I have to slot in there somewhere and somehow. But I have been trying to finesse over the last little while a 20-minute face.
Okay, yes, yeah. Well, you look great today. I don't know if this was 20
not a 20-minute face. I have more respect for you than to just slap on a 20-minute face.
Thank you, I'm honoured. I'm sure you look good with a 20-minute face though.
But yeah, it is. Back when I did Sydney Breakfast in 2010, there really wasn't any video of anything we did, maybe a photo. So maybe I could put on some makeup in the breaks. But now it's much more front facing, and that saying of you've really got a face for radio is kind of out.
It's obsolete now,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
It's gone. So there is a little, in my morning, I think I've got the routine sorted. But, we'll have to wait and see when we start if that actually works. I'm trying to get my alarm to be at 5. Nothing with a 4 in front of it.
That's good. That sounds quite civilised.
It's civil. I think so too. And I think one of the biggest challenges with this has been trying to make sure that I'm not burning the candle at both ends is really important, so that I can be as good as I can be for as long as I can be in everything that I do. So with this, if I can set the alarm for 5, and look, let's fast forward to 2 weeks in and I'll be...
Let's
I'll
not talk
be
about midwinter. We won't
works.
even talk about how you're feeling in June. We'll talk about that in June.
Yeah, but I think, I'll get up at 5 and put on a little 20-minute face, get dressed, have a coffee, out the door, and I'll be there at 5:45. I live not far from the studio. So Tim's going to start on air at 5:30, which is really exciting. And, I'll waltz in the door at 10 to 5 to and say hello and off we go. But all the planning really happens the day before, and we have such an amazing, solid team that we can rely on and kind of lean on every day. But I feel like we have it all figured out. Famous last words.
I love what you were just saying about Tim starting at 5:30. That glamour gap that you referred to that I talked to about with Hughesy is a coin that I'm trying to make take off. So I'm sure with your
I'm right here with
help,
you. I'm hitching on that
we'll get this taken off this year. It refers to the discrepancy in time between men and women getting ready. So I think this is a nice fix.
Yeah,
is that the male half of the on-air partnership is behind the mic half an hour early. So very smart, Nova, very smart.
I agree. Well, it's very much he's such a morning person anyway, so he's already got that on his side, and he doesn't have to slap on a face. So I feel like,
it's evening up the playing field a bit.
I
like
agree.
it. Let me ask you a little bit about the energy, the tone, what you bring to the show. As you say, this is a big shuffle. It doesn't happen a lot. What sort of shift in material and tone and banter are you and Tim and your team thinking that you'll be bringing to breakfast?
We just are who we are. Working with Tim for so long now, he's one of the greatest in this country at what he does, and I've been able to learn so much from him, and he's so wise and is such a student of radio and is so obsessed with it, and I'm obsessed with the craft of anything. So watching him work has been such a wonderful thing. I've been able to watch, a wizard at work basically every single day, and I get to ride shotgun with him. But really, our plan is to not change. We can't change who we are. We are who we are. We find the funny in absolutely everything, and we want to bring that to Sydney Breakfast, and we want to bring our show to Sydney and not try and emulate something that has already been. We want to find the funny in absolutely everything, no matter what it is. So really, that's our approach, and we just want to make people laugh and make people smile, because when you're sitting in traffic, or the kids are screaming in the back of the car, or you've got a million things to do at work, and you just want to switch off and kind of go on autopilot for a little bit and have a laugh and be a passenger. That's what we want to create for Sydney. We want to be the friends that you want to sit at the table with at the restaurant who are having a wonderful time, that you're overhearing, and that, everyone at the table is laughing and having fun. We want to be that for everybody. So yeah, that's our main focus, and it's such an exciting thing. And I think what's really cool is that Tim and I are such great friends that that's just going to come through naturally. And we've kind of become, through doing radio together, like if you look at the two of us on paper or you just see the two of us, we're such an unlikely friendship. And even Joel says the same thing. He's like, I have no idea how the two of you have become so close. Like, it makes no sense. Because it doesn't. On paper, we're just totally opposite, but there's so much about us that is the same. And I think that's where the magic is, and that's where the chemistry comes from. And from day one, we've just weirdly had that. I didn't really know Tim until I started coming in and filling in on Drive and doing shows with him.
Given the rapport and the friendship between you on air and off air.
But it feels like I've known him my whole life. He's really become such a huge part of my life, and I have a very small little circle, and he's very much a part of that now, and that's a really rare thing. And another thing that I think as you get older, you don't welcome new people into your life as easily. You know, you don't amass friends. If anything, you start dropping people from your life, and he's just become such a huge part of my life, and I'm just so lucky that every day I get to wake up and do something really fun with one of my best friends in the whole entire world. I'm very, very lucky.
Because the requirements of the job, the hours, the pressure, the sheer amount of content and conversations that you're having, to have somebody really needs somebody ideally that you completely trust and that you know you've got each other's back. Also, I think some of the great on-air pairings have been sort of unlikely duos.
True.
And you and Tim really, and I think that also maybe helps the audience be seen.
As different as we are, we're really similar, but there are still things that I think he's crazy and he thinks I'm crazy, and I think it's the perfect pairing because we really do complement each other. But it does become a little bit like, the way I think about it is it's like a lot like a marriage. What makes it work is trust and honesty and communication. And from the very beginning, because I think with both of us, it's almost impossible to offend either of us. There's nothing you can say that I'm going to get offended by. Really, there's nothing anyone can say that I'm going to get offended by, and Tim is the same. So we've been able to just be honest with each other and straight up with each other from the very beginning. And I think that that's been such a big part of us becoming such great friends, because great friends and great relationships are always built on honesty and trust and communication. And we have that. And it really is like a marriage. When you sit across from someone doing live radio, and the adrenaline and the nature of doing live anything, but particularly live radio, you get to know someone really, really quickly, and there's nowhere to hide. And we've gotten to a point where I can just look at him in the eyes and neither of us move a muscle. And I know exactly what he's thinking and he knows exactly what I'm thinking. And it's just this weird thing that happens. And that's incredible. And I think that is so much a part of the magic, but also life, where even though you're on air and you're doing, 3 hours of radio and over 200 shows a year together, your life, just because you're on the radio, cracking jokes and making everyone happy and making everyone smile and laugh, your life is still happening outside of that studio. And great things can be happening, but also awful things can be happening. That's another thing that brings you so much closer together, is that you have to be able to trust in each other that on those days that you're barely functioning, that the other person will take care of you and you can lean on them and they'll have your back, and that maybe in a sticky situation they're not ever going to hang you out to dry or throw you under the bus. And it's absolutely crucial, and it's the only way that something like this works and has longevity. So
let me ask you about ratings. Obviously, you're no stranger to the ratings game, either in your career in television or in radio, but they're still very highly scrutinised, the subject of headlines, as you know. Actually, I can almost feel, even as I've said that.
Only because not so much for Drive. I mean, we've been so lucky. We've just been number one. Tim's been number one at Drive for 13 years. And since I've been on the show for 4 years, it's just been number one. So it's wonderful. And we've been so lucky. But I absolutely am not naive, to not be thinking about ratings. Of course, it's an important thing. This is a business. And of course, we're not, coming here to be in last place. We have the passion and drive and ambition that we want to be the best at what we do. That's just who we are. And Tim and I are both the same. Of course we want to be number one. Of course we want to take over, but our focus is on creating something great, that people love and people can't live without.
When that alarm does go off in the morning this year, you have a very big day ahead of you
I
most
do.
days, because not only have you got Ricki-Lee and Tim show, you are also going to be hosting Australian Idol, which
Yes.
returns to air actually this week.
It does.
So TV, radio. I want to ask you obviously about Australian Idol, a lot to talk about there,
Yeah.
but one of the things, of course, is that one of the judges is Kyle Sandilands,
Yes.
and Kyle will be one of your competitors now
Yes.
in breakfast radio.
Yes.
He and Jackie O, of course,
Yeah.
a lot of always talk about them in breakfast radio. I assume as you and I are chatting, Kyle probably doesn't know who his new rivals are.
Well,
does he?
he knows now.
Yeah.
But he's definitely heard the whispers. There's been whispers for quite some time in the industry, and of course, his ear is firmly planted to the ground. He knows everything that's going on. Our first day of filming on Idol, actually, which was in September or October last year. And I knew it was going to happen. The second I saw him, he said, "You're doing breakfast," and I was like, "No, I'm not." I hadn't signed anything at the time, so I could honestly say to him, "I haven't signed anything." But you know, I have so much love for Kyle. He, you know, now with his tongue firmly planted in his cheek, you know, calls me his mortal enemy. But there's nothing but love there. He's you know, like me, like anyone, people have their opinions about him, but I have nothing but love for Kyle. He's been so supportive since I was on Idol in 2004. He's had my back. He's played my music. He's supported me, and he's been such a wonderful ally in this industry. And even now, hearing the whispers, he's, you know, coming to me on the side and saying, "Hey, I know you can't tell me anything, but if there's anything I can do to help, please, I'm here for you. And if you want to ask a question, if there's something that I can try and make sense of, if there's a tip or something I can tell you or help you with, I'm here for you. Just say the word and I'm here." So he's even though he's my mortal enemy, he's really not. He's a big teddy bear, and he's got a big heart, and I have lots of love for Kyle.
And that really tracks with certainly my dealings with Kyle too.
Yeah.
But having said that, it will still be an interesting day
Oh,
on set
100%.
on Idol if it's like the night before, say, the first ratings come out or something, because everyone will be a bit anxious about it.
Oh no, I mean, the thing is, it's undeniable that Kyle and Jack are, you know, the king and queen of radio in Sydney, and they have had the reign for so long, and they're so amazing at what they do. And you know, I and Tim have learnt so much from both of them, and they're icons and giants of the industry for a reason. And you know, that's not just going to end tomorrow, of course. I'm just happy that I get to exist in the same world. You know, it's a big game that we're about to play, and I'm just excited to be on the team, and we're going to give it a red hot go.
With Australian Idol as a show, obviously this was the show where you first became a household name in Australia. And then over the course of the show, in its first original run, there was you, I mean, Guy Sebastian, Jess Malboy. I mean, we could sit here and list so many iconic and still hugely successful Australian artists that came through that show. As a launch pad for careers now, what landscape do you think they're going out to, and what would your hopes and forecasts be for them, as opposed to the era that yourself and those, as I say, still household names came through?
It was it couldn't be a more different world. In 2004, social media didn't exist. iTunes, I don't think existed. Spotify and Apple Music, it didn't exist. It was the good old days of going to the store and buying a CD and spending that $35, $40 to buy the album that you love, and then you put it in the car and it's the one you listen to for weeks and months in your little CD stacker in your car. It's such a different time. There was no social media. You know, if you wanted to find people bitching and saying awful things about you, you basically had to go onto the dark web. Like, you go into some weird forum in a dark corner of the internet to find someone talking shit about you. Or you just heard people kind of talking in the line at the grocery store, like you couldn't hear them. Oh, is that her? She's a lot bigger in real life. Like, just, it was such a different time, whereas now it is, you're right. It's a completely different landscape and a completely different world that these contestants are going out into. The Australian Idol, whoever wins, it's not the same as it was 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago even. Even what hasn't changed from when I was on the show was that once the show finishes and once you're off the show, it's up to you. It's up to you to take that opportunity and make of it what you will. And some people aren't cut out for the industry and how hard and how cutthroat and how savage and brutal it is. But other people are, and it's those people that cut through and rise above and find success, because if you make a great thing, eventually people will find it. And I get a front row seat to witness someone turning up to auditions the way that I did in 2004 and walking through those doors, and their life is never the same afterwards.
Simon Cowell, who infamously was the quote-unquote mean judge in the US and UK versions of Idol, he was doing some international media last year, and he told the New York Times there are things that he looks back and regrets. Mm-hmm. What are your observations of how the show treats contestants? Has there been an improvement in that, in the way that Simon Cowell is talking about?
Definitely.
But on the flip side, they are also exposed to that absolutely unfiltered social media onslaught in a way that yourself and your peers weren't.
Well, maybe I think the media was probably a lot more nasty. Mm-hmm. Casey Donovan reposted something from our season, and the title was in it. Had something about Fat Idol, and it was talking about us and what we all looked like, and that's just a wild thing to think about now. Whereas the media isn't so savage. It's a lot more kind now, and we as a show take care of people really, really well. We'll never subject anyone to feeling like they are being made fun of or taken advantage of. Everything is, if you want to come along and play ball and you want to have some fun, no one's ever going to make you feel bad about yourself. And of course, some people come in and they know they're not great, or they stuff up their audition. We're not there to make fun of people or to embarrass people. We're there to give people an opportunity to show us who they are. But behind the scenes, it's definitely something there's a real conscious effort to make sure people are looked after, and that's a real change from back in the day, where it was kind of a free for all, and if you want to, it was very, very different. But the big difference now is that that we didn't have to face then is the savage nature of social media. I think the most important thing is to empower yourself to make sure that what you focus on is only the positive.
But of course, I was going to ask you about that body shaming aspect of the commentary, because that is one example of what people felt they could say at that time. We really have, I think, come a long way, hopefully. And I mean, I spoke about Simon Cowell, but also obviously people like Dicko, who was then the quote-unquote mean judge in Australia. Yeah. People like him have also reflected on comments that they made about body shaming commentary. Do you think that the culture has become kinder to women, especially with the body shaming? Or again, do you think it's something that's still there, it's just in slightly more insidious ways now?
Yeah, I really don't know, because in a lot of ways it is still there. I mean, I still get lots of, and I find it funny. Personally, because of the way that I am and the thick skin that I have and the way that I grew up, I really don't care about what anyone thinks about how I look. I never have and I never will. And so I find it funny when people have any kind of commentary. And, it's every week. Every time I put up a photo, and I'm in a dress on Idol, oh, your hips are huge, your ass is huge, oh, you shouldn't wear that, it looks gross, oh, look at your tummy, or whatever it is. But I felt amazing in that dress, and I love it, and I feel like I look good, and the reason I chose to wear it is because I love it, and I think I look shit hot. So it is an interesting time. I think it has changed a lot, but it's still very much there. But yeah, I really don't pay it any attention.
I love that. And
I choose to find it funny.
Well, and you're on the cover of Stella today and you look absolutely fabulous. I feel like it was getting better, and then I feel like maybe the Ozempic conversation then found people another way
to have a go.
Correct. And to police bodies of men and women, but always seems to be, let's be honest, primarily women, because then you would have experienced this too. It then becomes the faux concern, as in, she's too skinny now, or she looks like that. It's the same conversation.
I get that all the time. If I've been on holiday and I've been eating heaps of pizza, there's a commentary about how I look. Or if I start working out maybe a little bit more because I want to feel great about myself in a dress or whatever it is, you're too skinny now. Like, no matter what you do, and it goes back to what I was saying before, no matter what you do, you're never going to be able to please everyone. Everyone's always going to have an opinion, and you just live your life in a way that makes you happy. But what I am conscious of and always have been conscious of, and I get this all the time, is because I'm not afraid to post pictures of myself without makeup or videos and share that kind of stuff. I get lots of, even though I don't live my life caring about what people think of me, I know that it's a big thing for women and young women in particular. And they are faced with a lot of, AI and you never know what's real when you're scrolling through your feed. And I get a lot of mums in particular coming on to whether it's Instagram or Facebook or wherever it is and messaging me and saying, I'm so thankful that you are so genuine and so authentic, and that you are such a great example for my daughters, that you don't have to be perfect and you don't have to be done up all the time and you don't have to, be so put together and perfect in glam and makeup, and you're so real, and I really appreciate those comments. And that's I think I'm very conscious of what I put out publicly because of that, because I do, even though I personally don't care what people think, I care that it means something to other people, and that maybe just by being myself I can maybe encourage someone else to accept and have acceptance that who they are is enough, and that they can do that too, and that everything doesn't need to be so perfect and filtered and retouched, and there's a big mix of that, of course. I do photo shoots and things it's so unrealistic. I've been in hair and makeup for 4 hours and I'm wearing an outfit that I can't sit or walk in, or on Idol. It's the same. Like, there's nothing realistic about that. But there is also the other side where, I'm sitting on the couch and I've got a pimple on my cheek and I'm nailing a piece of pizza because I'm hungover. So what?
I think that makes the impact stronger, actually, the variation, because people then will see you looking literally $1 billion by anyone's estimate. I would honestly say the cover of Stella today is an example. But then, so that might seem wow, but then it's like, but that's because of a lot of smoke and mirrors, is 100%. What you're saying. And that actually breaks down that, because when I was growing up, we never saw that. No. You only saw the $1 billion image. Oh, totally. And you never saw the smoke and mirrors.
No way. But wait until you see the video that I put up of the fringe that we tried to put on me at the shoot for Stella. And I looked like Uncle Fester. First of all, I looked like a handmaid. They had a white towel, like off. It was full handmade vibes. But then there was a fringe being clipped on, and then when they pulled off the white paper towel and had the weird wet fringe, I fully looked like Uncle Fester. And I'm going to post that video because it's funny. I'm not trying to look perfect all the time. Yes, the Stella cover is beautiful and these images are perfect and amazing and like Vogue and glam and but there's a reality to the other side of it, which is what that is. And it's important to show both sides and be real and show that, oh my God, look at how ridiculous I look.
I love it.
I'm never afraid to poke fun at myself and to show that real side, or to show that I'm standing on set at a photo shoot and my hairstylist is using a Makita to cool me down up my dress because I'm overheating because I'm so hot all the time. Like,
such a glamorous world, isn't it? Such a glamorous industry that you're in.
It is, but it's really not. There's still, I'm still me, even though I've got this amazing dress on and I'm, like a penguin walking out on stage. I can't wait to take it off and get home and be on the couch with my hair in a ponytail and no makeup on, you know?
Absolutely. Every woman looks forward to that moment at
taking
the
that
end
bra
of the day.
off. It's the best.
Well, we know you're killing it at work. I want to ask you a little bit about your home life because you and your husband, Richard, were in Paris, I believe, over the summer break because you celebrated your 10th wedding anniversary. How has it been 10 years?
I know.
My goodness.
I know. I can't believe it's been 10 years. I mean, we met in 2009 and we got married in 2015. I was going to say 2010. That would be bad maths, Coulter. See, that's why I'm
I'm a journalist. It probably would have sailed over my head.
2015 we got married in Paris, and so we thought for our 10-year anniversary we would go back and make that one of the stops on our trip over Christmas, and it was awesome. It really was. And I think living such a busy life, and he's first and foremost my husband, but he's also my manager, and we work together every day. It can be hard to balance and to balance work and personal and make sure that, you know, when we're sitting there at night, we're not talking about work, or when we first wake up in the morning, it's not, oh, we got this overnight. Like we really try hard to balance work and personal, but sometimes it's very, very difficult. So going on holiday, which we, you know, now that I'm doing TV, radio and music, those holidays are so important. Back in the day, it never used to be. It felt like I was always on holiday when it was traveling around being an artist and writing and recording. We were kind of always together, and it's always felt like a holiday, even though we were always working. But it just, now those moments together and those holidays are really crucial. And, you know, rather than spending Christmas with family, we'll go somewhere together, just the two of us, so that we can kind of reconnect, I guess. And sometimes it takes me, you know, a week or two to unwind because I'm so wound up sometimes by the end of the year. And for us to kind of get back on, you know, the same, this is why we love each other. And it's very fun.
Also, it's like what you were saying before about your on-air partnership with Tim. You were saying it's like a good marriage in some ways, and then your real marriage with Richard has obviously got that same component that 100%. He understands that compartmentalization. To have that life partner that really understands that would be critical.
100%. I mean, I feel like, you know, the Ricki-Lee that you all see doing all of these great things and kicking goals really doesn't exist without Richard. And I feel like we're a real partnership. And if you look at, I hate saying it like this, but if you look at Ricki-Lee objectively, there are two of us behind that, making that machine operate. He can't do what I do and I can't do what he does, but together we make this thing great, and we create and do great things together. And you know, like with we're just such a great partnership, and he's always seen, he's just seen me. Like from when I first met him, he saw the potential and the untapped potential in me that even I couldn't see. And I think particularly in like the typical gender roles, a man would be, let's say, threatened by who I am and what I do and the shine that's on me. And he's never been like that. He's the opposite. He's done nothing but try and shine more light and to amplify me even more. He is. Oh, this is so corny, but it's so true. He's like the wind beneath my wings. Oh, that felt so gross coming out of my mouth. But it's so true.
Have you ever sung that to him?
I haven't, but now I'll have to now. Once he sees this, I'll do that. I'll have to sing it. But it's so true. It's like a great team can't be a great team without a great coach and a great athlete or a great, you know, you see actors at the Oscars thanking their people because they've been the foundation and the pillar of strength that's kept them going and believed in them when they didn't. And you can't do that without a great leader or a great coach or a great person in your corner that can identify weaknesses and help you make them strengths. And I think the best thing about Rich and I is that we balance each other out so perfectly. He's, you know, what his weaknesses are my strengths, and what my weaknesses are his strengths, and together we feel like we're unstoppable and we can take on anything. And I think that's what makes any partnership great, is that you balance each other out. And I think with our relationship, both in, you know, our marriage, but in our working relationship, that's what I think makes us such a great success and makes it work, because we respect and love each other and believe in each other, and what the other person says, I completely trust. And while I'm the world's most opinionated person, I trust and listen to everything that he says, because I respect him so much. And I think anybody that's worked with Rich, or is friends with Rich, or knows Rich really well, or has had any dealings with Rich, knows that he's just the guy that wants to bring out the most in everyone around him, and to make them the best that they can be. And if he sees that you're great at something, he wants to try and help you be the greatest at that thing. And he's just a wonderful person, and I'm so lucky to have him, because I really couldn't do what I do if I didn't have him by my side.
Ricki-Lee, before we finish up, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the role you maybe inadvertently played in a position that we took at Stella actually 7 years ago now, which is that we don't ask women or men, but particularly women that we're interviewing, whether they're planning to have children. If they have a child, we don't ask them whether they're planning to have a second one. We just don't ask about baby plans. Mm-hmm. And you were one of the women that really inspired that rethink for me. It had been a bit of a reckoning for a few years, and then there were a few things that happened just in media and the way that women would later talk about things that had made them feel really bad. And you were really genuinely, I hope I don't laying it on too thick here, but it's sincere. You were one of the real pioneers, I think, in the Australian media, giving voice to women that were public with not wanting to have children. The decision to be child-free is still sometimes misunderstood, but very much, it was very brave, which is an overused word when you were talking about it. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you.
And
That's
say,
really cool.
I hope that decisions like that here in Australia and overseas, that the times are starting to catch up a little bit.
I hope so. I mean, I know one of the things that I always felt really sensitive towards was that, that those questions would be asked. And this is the amazing thing about a changing landscape in media, is that people are a bit more aware, and, you never know what people are going through behind closed doors. Not myself, but there are lots of people that I know, lots of women in media that were wanting to have children and trying for children and struggling and going through really, really terrible times and having to be asked about it or being pressured about it. And that was just such a I just thought it really isn't something that is anybody's business. And I think it was probably really shocking for a lot of people to hear me say those things, that it just wasn't something that I was choosing for my life. But I think it's been amazing to see so many women over the years echoing that and saying the same thing, and that they are making the same choice. But it's so funny. I get asked about it all the time, and I love kids. I'm obsessed with kids. Yeah. I'm probably the happiest around kids. I would say my two best friends are like 5 and 2. Like I love kids, but I feel like everyone has to make choices in life, and I know that I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I had kids, because I'm such an all-in person. I know that people have wildly successful careers and do amazing things and they have kids, but I know myself, and I know how all in and how all or nothing I am. And I also am so aware of what a huge responsibility it is to take a little person and make them into a great human. I'm watching my best friends do it. I'm watching my sister do it. I'm watching so many people in my life, and I have so much respect for parents, but particularly working mothers, because I see the toll that it takes, and I have nothing but respect. But I just, I love work and I love what I do, and I'm so lucky that I get to do what I do, and that is the choice that I've made, and you know, I may live to regret that one day, and people love to remind me of that. But that's my choice and my cross to bear if that's what happens to be the case. But you know, I have such a happy, full life, and I can't imagine it any different. And I'm so lucky that I have so much love and support and happiness in my life, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And I'm so lucky that I get to do what I love every single day. I get to wake up and do radio with my best friend. I get to travel the world and make music and make a thing that becomes a part of people's lives and changes people's mood and feeling, and I get to be a part of people's lives in a really deep and meaningful way. And then I love working on TV and being a part of ushering in a new generation of young talent and making something that hopefully makes people smile and have a good time when they're sitting on the couch at night. So I feel like my life is full, and I feel lucky, and I'm grateful every single day for that, and I wouldn't change any of it for the world.
Well, I wouldn't change any of our conversation today. I'm so glad that you have fitted me in. All the best for this year. It's a big
so
year,
much.
but I'm very excited to see it all play out on Australian Idol and Nova 96.9 Sydney breakfast show. Ricki-Lee and Tim can be heard weekdays from 6 a.m. starting Monday, February 9, when that alarm goes off a few hours earlier for Ricki-Lee. And national listeners can also tune into the show across the Nova network every weekday from 6 till 7. You can stream the show live. There's that video we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Or catch up with the daily podcast on the Nova Player. Ricki-Lee Coulter, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Lovely to see you. Good to chat.
You as well. Lovely to chat.